I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed, and after more than 25 years working with adults over 60, I've noticed a pattern almost no one talks about. A food many seniors eat every single day, believing it helps digestion, bone strength, and heart health, can quietly make their sleep far more fragile. It isn't caffeine, it isn't sugar, it's yogurt. Now, yogurt itself isn't the problem, but the modern versions, the ones lining most grocery shelves, are nothing like the traditional fermented food your body expects. They're often filled with added sugars, gums and thickeners, artificial sweeteners, stabilizers, heavy heat processing, and the loss of probiotic diversity that older adults depend on support serotonin and melatonin. And that matters because after 60, the gut-brain axis becomes far more sensitive. When the wrong type of yogurt is eaten at night, it can subtly raise nighttime cortisol, increase gut irritation, make the heart more reactive, and amplify the alerting signals that lead to 1 to 3 a.m. wake-ups, fragmented sleep, and that light, easily broken feeling seniors describe every morning. Most people never trace those symptoms back to yogurt, but the biology is clear, and the pattern shows up again and again in my clinic. So in this video, I'm going to show you something simple but important. The 4 yogurts most likely to disturb sleep in older adults, and the 4 yogurts that can genuinely support deeper rest, calmer digestion, and steadier nighttime chemistry. Before we continue, please tap like to help this reach more seniors, and subscribe with the notification bell so you never miss weekly guidance on foods that influence sleep more than most medications. Let's begin. Number 4, flavored Greek yogurt. Flavored Greek yogurt looks harmless. It sounds healthy, it feels light, and many adults over 60 choose it, believing the protein will help them sleep. But for a surprising number of seniors, especially those who wake between 1 and 3 in the morning, this type of yogurt quietly activates the very signals that break sleep. The issue isn't the yogurt itself, it's what the modern food industry adds to it. Most flavored Greek yogurts carry enough hidden sugars to produce a quick glucose rise after dinner. For younger adults, that spike is manageable, but in older adults, it's often followed by a sharp glucose drop a few hours later. When that happens, the brain releases cortisol to stabilize energy, and that surge is one of the most common triggers for early night awakenings. Then there are the gums and thickeners that give flavored yogurts their smooth texture. Ingredients like guar gum or carrageenan are tolerated by some people, but in many seniors, they mildly irritate the gut lining and stimulate the vagus nerve. That tiny bit of digestive activity can nudge heart rate upward, just enough for the brain to shift out of deep sleep and into a lighter, more fragile state. And finally, the natural flavors inside many flavored yogurts do nothing for the microbiome. In fact, they often weaken the very bacteria older adults rely on to support serotonin and melatonin production. When that pathway weakens, the body loses its ability to hold sleep once it begins. I worked recently with a woman named Evelyn, age 71, who ate a cup of flavored Greek yogurt every single night because she believed it was the healthier choice. For months, she woke at almost the same time, 2:15 a.m., no matter how early she went to bed. After switching to a plain, full-fat option, the wake-ups dropped within days. Nothing else changed. If your sleep breaks early in the night, flavored Greek yogurt is one of the first evening foods I advise removing. It looks innocent, but for many older adults, it sends the wrong signal at exactly the wrong time. Number 3, frozen yogurt. Frozen yogurt is one of the most misleading healthy treats for older adults. It's marketed as lighter than ice cream, easier to digest, and even good for the gut. But for seniors struggling with sleep, especially fragmented sleep and sudden alertness in the early morning hours, frozen yogurt is one of the most disruptive foods you can eat at night. The first problem is the sugar curve. Frozen yogurt often contains more sugar than premium ice cream, but it's hidden behind terms like tart, low-fat, or original. That sugar rush creates a fast rise in glucose, followed by the exact kind of drop that triggers a cortisol rebound around 1 to 3 a.m. Most seniors never feel the drop itself. They only feel the abrupt wake-up their brain generates in response. The second issue is the emulsifiers used to keep frozen yogurt smooth and stable at low temperatures. Compounds like polysorbates and certain gums alter the gut lining in subtle ways, reducing the microbiome diversity older adults depend on to regulate serotonin and melatonin. When that internal ecosystem weakens, sleep becomes lighter, dreams become more vivid, and the boundary between sleep and wakefulness becomes easier to break. And finally, because frozen yogurt is cold and consumed quickly, it activates the digestive system at a time when the body's trying to downshift. For seniors with sensitive GI rhythms, that little jolt of activity can be enough to disrupt the autonomic transition into deeper sleep stages. One of my patients, Harold, age 69, ate frozen yogurt every evening because it felt light on his stomach. But he woke almost every night between 2 and 3 a.m. When he removed it from his nighttime routine, the wake-ups nearly disappeared, without changing anything else. Frozen yogurt may seem harmless, but for many older adults, it creates the perfect storm of sugar volatility, gut irritation, and nervous system activation. Exactly what fragile sleep cannot withstand. Number 2, low-fat fruit yogurt. Low-fat fruit yogurt is easily one of the most common sleep disruptors I see in older adults. Not because it's unhealthy in the traditional sense, but because the way it behaves in the body after 60 is completely different from what most people expect. The first issue is the lack of fat. Fat isn't just a calorie source. It slows digestion, stabilizes glucose, and keeps insulin curves gentle. But when you strip the fat out of yogurt and replace it with fruit puree or stabilizers, you create a fast-digesting food that spikes glucose hard and then lets it crash. That crash is one of the most reliable triggers of nighttime cortisol, especially between 1 and 3 a.m. For seniors who describe waking wide awake for no reason, this pattern is almost always part of the biology underneath. The second issue is the hidden sugar load. Most fruit yogurts contain the equivalent of 3 to 5 teaspoons of sugar in a single cup, even the ones labeled light, whipped, or fruit on the bottom. That sugar pushes the pancreas harder at night, when it is naturally less responsive, creating metabolic stress that ricochets into sleep fragmentation. Older adults often feel this as vivid dreams, a warm flush through the chest, or a sudden rise in alertness during the second half of the night. A third often overlooked problem is how low-fat fruit yogurt affects the serotonin-melatonin pathway. Because it digests so quickly, the body does not receive enough steady amino acid release to support evening serotonin production. That means melatonin synthesis becomes inconsistent, and sleep becomes shallow. I once worked with Ellen, age 71, who ate a small cup of low-fat blueberry yogurt every night because she believed it was light and good for digestion. She also woke at 2:20 a.m. almost every night. Replacing it with a full-fat, unsweetened version cut her nighttime awakenings by more than half in 1 week. Low-fat fruit yogurt looks innocent, even healthy, but its sugar curve and lack of stabilizing fat make it one of the worst choices for seniors trying to sleep through the night. Number 1, zero sugar protein. Yogurts. Among all the yogurts older adults reach for at night, zero sugar protein yogurts are the most misleading and the most disruptive to sleep. They're marketed as clean, high protein, low carb, metabolism friendly. But after 60, your biology reacts to them very differently than the label suggests. The first problem is the artificial sweeteners. Compounds like sucralose, acesulfame K, and aspartame may contain 0 calories, but they don't behave neutrally in the nervous system. Several aging sleep studies show that these sweeteners suppress GABA activity, the very neurotransmitter responsible for calming brain activity before sleep. When GABA tone drops, the brain becomes more reactive, more alert, and far more prone to micro-awakenings. Seniors often describe this as, "My brain won't shut off," or "I sleep, but I stay half awake all night." The second issue is the sheer protein load. At night, especially after age 60, high protein is stimulating. It increases thermogenesis, activates the sympathetic nervous system, and raises core temperature. 3 factors that make deep sleep harder to enter and even harder to maintain. Many older adults don't realize that waking at 1 to 3 a.m. with a warm chest, light sweating, or a restless mind can come from nothing more than an overly high-protein evening snack. Third, these yogurts have some of the lowest probiotic counts of all dairy products. Fermentation time is shortened to produce a thick texture, not a rich microbiome. That means little support for serotonin production, and without serotonin, the brain cannot convert efficiently to melatonin. I once worked with Walter, age 76, who switched to zero-sugar protein yogurt because he believed it was the healthiest option. He also developed the worst sleep of his life, 3 to 4 wake-ups a night, vivid dreams, and morning fatigue he had never experienced before. Removing the product didn't just help, it restored his sleep within a week. Zero-sugar protein yogurts look modern and optimal, but for seniors, they create the perfect storm. Low GABA, high stimulation, poor melatonin support, and a fragile night that breaks apart at the slightest signal. Those were the 4 types most likely to keep you awake, even when everything else in your routine is right. Now let's flip the script, because there are yogurts that do the exact opposite. They stabilize glucose, calm inflammation, support serotonin, and strengthen the melatonin rhythm your nights depend on. And we'll start with number 4, a classic yogurt most seniors overlook, but one that can noticeably deepen sleep within just a few evenings. Number 4, full-fat plain Greek yogurt. Most older adults instinctively reach for low-fat or flavored yogurt, assuming they're healthier. But when it comes to nighttime physiology, especially after 60, the fat you remove is the very element your sleep quietly depends on. Full-fat Greek yogurt digests slowly and predictably, something your body desperately needs in the evening. Its natural fats stabilize the glucose curve, preventing the sharp drop that often triggers a cortisol surge around 1 to 3 a.m. Many seniors describe that moment as a subtle chest alertness or a sudden rise in heart activity. In reality, it's a glucose crash, and the fat in yogurt is what prevents it. There's also a powerful anti-inflammatory effect. Full-fat Greek yogurt contains conjugated linoleic acid, CLA, a compound shown to calm low-grade inflammation in older adults. Inflammation isn't just a daytime problem. At night, it activates microarousal pathways, making sleep light and easily broken. Reduce that noise, and the deeper stages of sleep become far more accessible. And unlike flavored or low-fat yogurts, the full-fat plain version maintains a high density of active probiotics. These strains support the gut-brain axis, improving serotonin availability, which is often the rate-limiting step for melatonin production in seniors. I think of Marjorie, 71, who switched simply because she wanted something real instead of artificial blends. Within a week, she noticed fewer early night awakenings and a steadier, more continuous sleep, without changing anything else in her routine. If you want to use this yogurt for sleep, here's the simplest protocol. Choose full-fat, plain, unsweetened Greek yogurt. No gums, no flavors, no light varieties. Portion 1/4 to 1/2 cup. Eat 70 to 90 minutes before bed. When used correctly, full-fat Greek yogurt doesn't sedate you. It creates the biochemical stability your sleep has been missing. Number 3, goat milk yogurt. As people move into their 60s and 70s, digestion changes in ways most never notice, until it begins affecting sleep. The stomach empties more slowly, the gut becomes more reactive, and anything difficult to break down can trigger a cascade that ends in a 2 to 3 a.m. awakening. This is where goat milk yogurt stands apart. Its protein structure is smaller and easier to digest than traditional cow's milk yogurt. Instead of sitting heavy in the stomach, a common problem that raises sympathetic tone at night, goat milk yogurt moves through the gut smoothly without creating the pressure or mild irritation that often wakes older adults before they realize what happened. It also delivers minerals that directly support nighttime physiology. Goat milk is naturally richer in calcium and medium-chain fats that assist in calming neural activity. Stable absorption means fewer fluctuations in the nervous system, less nighttime tension, and a lower likelihood of those microarousals that make sleep feel thin and easily disrupted. The probiotic strains in goat milk yogurt tend to survive digestion more effectively, especially in older adults with reduced stomach acidity. That means better serotonin production, better melatonin signaling, and a more reliable descent into the deeper layers of sleep. These aren't dramatic changes. They're quiet, cumulative improvements that the body instantly recognizes. I worked with Samuel, age 68, who complained that every dairy product felt too heavy at night. He wasn't lactose intolerant. He was simply sensitive to cow protein digestion. Switching to goat milk, yogurt reduced his nighttime gastric pressure within days, and the awakenings that once felt random almost disappeared. To use it correctly, choose plain, unsweetened goat milk yogurt, not flavored versions. Portion, 1/4 to 1/2 cup. Timing, 70 to 90 minutes before bed. When digestion is calmer, sleep becomes steadier. Goat milk yogurt gives seniors exactly that, without the nighttime disturbances that many never trace back to their evening dairy choice. Number 2, homemade yogurt. Among all the yogurts available to older adults, nothing comes close to the biological power of homemade yogurt. Not because it's trendy or nostalgic, but because it contains the single feature most store-bought yogurts have lost, a truly high probiotic density. As we age, stomach acid decreases, gut motility slows, and the microbiome becomes less diverse. This creates a fragile serotonin-melatonin pathway, which is why so many seniors fall asleep easily, yet cannot stay asleep. Homemade yogurt bypasses those problems by providing billions more active cultures per serving than commercial options, and without the gums, stabilizers, or sweeteners that often stimulate nighttime cortisol. The sleep impact is measurable. More probiotics mean more serotonin production in the gut, which means stronger melatonin signaling at night. Instead of drifting in and out of light sleep, the brain transitions more smoothly through its deep sleep stages. Nighttime glucose stays steadier, inflammation drops, and the nervous system quiets instead of reactivating at 2 or 3 a.m. A patient of mine, Linda, age 71, had spent years trying to manage her mystery wake-ups. She tried teas, supplements, even prescription options. Nothing held. When she switched to a simple homemade yogurt, just milk and culture, no additives, her awakenings decreased from 3 per night to 1 within 10 days. The difference wasn't sedation, it was stability. To use homemade yogurt effectively, choose whole milk as the base. Fat supports stable nighttime glucose. Culture for 8 to 12 hours for best probiotic concentration. Use 1/4 to 1/2 cup, eaten 70 to 90 minutes before bed. Keep it plain. Fruit on bottom, sweeteners, or mix-ins weaken the effect. Homemade yogurt doesn't put you to sleep. It restores the chemical rhythm that keeps you asleep, something most seniors don't realize they've lost. Number 1, kefir yogurt, the sleep hero. Kefir yogurt is, without question, the most powerful sleep-supporting dairy food I've ever used with older adults. Not because it's exotic or expensive, but because it delivers something no other yogurt on this list can match. 30 to 40 active probiotic strains, each working on a different part of the sleep machinery. Most yogurts contain 2 or 3 strains. Homemade yogurt can reach 10 or more. But kefir, it behaves like a full biological system. Its diverse cultures influence gut serotonin, nighttime inflammation, glucose steadiness, and even the HPA axis, the system that controls cortisol. And for seniors who wake at 1 to 3 a.m. with no clear reason, cortisol stability is often the hidden key. Here's what makes kefir so unique. Its probiotics remain active longer in the digestive tract. That means more GABA production, stronger serotonin signaling, and a smoother melatonin curve through the night. Instead of the brain hovering in shallow sleep, it settles into deeper, more restorative stages, the kind most seniors haven't felt in years. One of my long-term patients, Martin, age 75, struggled with chronic sleep fragmentation. He didn't have pain, stress, or anxiety. He simply couldn't hold sleep. When we introduced a small serving of kefir yogurt each evening, plain, unsweetened, whole milk, his nighttime awakenings dropped by nearly half in 3 weeks. He described it this way: "My sleep finally feels like it has weight again." To use kefir effectively, choose plain, unsweetened, Whole milk kefir. Start with 1/4 cup, increase up to 1/2 cup as tolerated. Drink it 70 to 90 minutes before bed. Do not pair with acidic fruit at night. It reduces probiotic activity. Kefir doesn't sedate you. It recalibrates the systems that keep sleep continuous, your gut, your cortisol rhythm, and your deep sleep architecture. This is why kefir yogurt ranks #1. If you're over 60, the goal isn't to overhaul your diet overnight. It's to give your body the right signals at the right time. Yogurt can either support those signals or disrupt them, depending on the type and the timing. Here's the simplest routine I use with my own patients. 1. Choose only one yogurt per night. Layering multiple types, even healthy ones, creates digestive load and raises the chance of nighttime cortisol spikes. 2. The ideal window is 70 to 90 minutes before bed. This is when the gut-brain axis is most responsive and when probiotics can reinforce serotonin and GABA without interfering with sleep onset. 3. If you struggle with 1 to 3 a.m. awakenings, use kefir or full-fat plain Greek yogurt. The fat slows glucose drops, and the live cultures reduce cortisol variability. 4. If you have tension, worry, or brain-on evenings, goat milk yogurt is the gentlest on the vagus nerve and often reduces the mental restlessness seniors feel at night. 5. Avoid fruit on the bottom cups, citrus, and anything labeled 0 sugar. These disrupt probiotics, overstimulate the nervous system, or trigger glucose swings, all of which break sleep. Keep this routine for 7 to 10 nights, then notice the difference in the second half of your sleep, where most age-related disruption happens. Your sleep at 60, 70, or 80 doesn't decline because your body forgets how to rest. It declines because the signals guiding sleep become weaker, and the foods you trust don't always support them. Yogurt is one of the clearest examples. Choose the wrong type, and you can trigger cortisol spikes, glucose drops, and micro-awakenings that shatter the night. Choose the right one, and the opposite happens. Your gut calms, your brain receives steadier neurotransmitter support, and your sleep architecture strengthens from the inside out. If tonight is the night you want to start changing your sleep, begin small. A 1/4 cup of the right yogurt, at the right time, can shift pathways that medication never touches. It's not about perfection. It's about sending one clear biological signal your body can follow. If this video helped you understand your sleep a little better, please like it so YouTube knows to show you more of this content. And subscribe with notifications because every week I break down everyday foods that quietly shape the way seniors sleep, heal, and age. Before you go, tell me in the comments, which yogurt are you using now and which one will you try tonight?